Hey, what's up, guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome to another stream, and this time we're doing a stream for the event uh, Neon City Showdown. And one of the things I mentioned earlier in the last stream, as well as in my post the other day, one of the things I want to focus a little bit more on this time around is on just non-event decks, and also we're going to talk about spires as well. And also from the last stream, I wasn't able to get through to everybody, so there were a few people that I didn't get to, and I jotted their names down. So as we start looking at some of the people's decks, I'm actually going to focus on them first, and I have the names here. And we're going to be going with Dark Arcane X first, then we're going to take a look at Eric Blackheart, and then J Scott 881, Regent Gwr Carmel, Vicar IR Senior, The Reaper, and Judge Reed. Or Judge Dredd. So those are the sort of the 7 people that requested, but I couldn't get to last time, and so I'm gonna get to them first. Now, but one of the things I wanted to focus on today as well is some of the other decks that we typically don't see, just because I've been focused a lot more on event decks, but this time around it's going to be less so because I only have the 1 card. And just taking a look at the chat here, so I just want to say hi to everybody in the stream again. So welcome to you all, and hope you guys are having a good event. So let's take a look. Okay, couple of teams that I am running today. Just wanted to kind of show you where we're at. We could probably just go in and take a look at the cards, and also we got some challenge bosses here, and so we can talk about that, like how are you doing with these challenge bosses, do you understand the mechanics and all of these things. There's some new things that I thought we would cover. And so there are basically some teams that I talked about in my video as well. So I had made a video yesterday on some of the different ideas, and a couple of them I actually still use. Now Gemfall is a fun one, although I was also using the Earth Slayer as well as my Dark Slayer, kind of going back and forth. But the one I'm using the most right now is actually between my turn 1 deck and also the one that is mixed using a copy of Magma Ventrix as well as 2 Fire Thoughts. So I'm curious what you guys are using as well and what kind of help you guys need. And I'm going to try and focus a little bit more on Spires today as well, as I've been meaning to do that. And so if you have any if you're stuck on a particular level, let me know, and then we can go and take a look as well. There are some things I wanted to show you, actually. So if you take a look here, this is something I was working on. I started working on this as a side project, and so let me show you how this if I can interact with it. So the thing that you can do here is I kind of started taking a look at the Spire levels, and this is information that was based on MTM's spreadsheet. And what you can do is you could actually, take a look at the tower that you're at, and then you can sort of see what are the rewards that you get and what floors you can get them at. So the focus here is more about what you are actually going to get in terms of rewards, as opposed to how do you actually get through each of those levels. I'm going to focus on that the next time. So I just wanted to show you this. I'll have the link to this in the description later. You can take a look and check it out. All right, and also one more thing, just kind of a housekeeping thing. I did add my my Twitter account here, so I don't use it as often, although I think kind of should, just so I can send out more updates more regularly. So feel free to follow, and then I'll as I'm playing through, and if there's like some cool nifty ideas I came up with, or just like some little videos, I kind of want to start using that to share to everybody as well. So let me know. All right, so taking a look here, we've got some people here, and we've got let's see. So taking a look at the people who are asking for help as well. So so Joe wants to know, I already got your name down here as well, and so we'll have Catherine McIntyre next. But first, wanted to just kind of show you how all of these teams work. It's important to build a 2-turn deck as well as a 1-turn deck. If you wanted to get any sort of 15% bonus or if you wanted to get MVP, it's very important that if you don't have a one-turn deck, to go for a quick 2-turn that doesn't actually get interrupted. So one of the things here is I built this deck because I can use Ventrix to get 4 Power Gem 4s and then use Thoth, even though they're commander, to build up the gems here. Now, because I'm actually fighting in a guild boss, it doesn't actually matter as much, but you want to make sure that if you don't use Ray's ability, because it's a nuke attack, and in the middle of a nuke attack, it will get interrupted, and so the enemies will actually come in and deal damage there. So that's something to keep in mind if you're using Ray in your team as well. I didn't mention that in my video, so that's something to consider. And then also, just the thing about the one-turn deck, this actually has saved me a lot of keys, just because I can go in and I can do a fight against an Emerald boss. So like, if I see an Emerald boss right here, actually I don't have any keys for challenge boss right now either. But I can kind of go in, do a quick fight here. Let's do one right now against this. We'll use this key, one key here to kind of show you how this all works out. But, if you have Ray and you're thinking about whether or not to ascend her, or I should say, if you have a legend, a Generation 1 legend that you're thinking about, hey, should I actually ascend or not? I think that it's actually worth ascending, especially if a couple copies, it's going to start paying dividends as you start working them up. And you can see here, like, within the first turn here, I'm able to deal a little bit over 6 to 8 billion damage. Or actually, no, about 5 billion damage just from that overkill, so total of about 9 billion, right? So it's a pretty good setup there. So kind of we'll see what you guys are working with there. And we also have challenge bosses, and I actually had to do this quite a bit. I had to do it maybe 3 times, so I had to wait until today before I could finish it. I'm going to show you the deck that I used right now, actually. So before I go in and start taking a look at people's decks right away, I'm going to go and take a kind of talk about the decks I've used, so that we could actually, we can kind of talk through how I defeated it and also what the strategy is. So I'm going to actually change the team a little bit, because this was not the team that I used. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. And I think what I can do is I can actually use I can go up against a boss to kind of show you how the mechanics work here. So this is the team that I used for, let's see, maybe this will be good enough. So this is the team that will do the following. I'm using Baleful Bride to heal, and I'm also using Contessa, the reforged version, to dispel Power Gem Silence. So the challenge trial boss, now like the trial boss, if you're having a hard time with trial, not the challenge, but the trial itself, this is what I used. And I used the Emerald Applewood as well as Bacon Baron to increase my overall damage, and then Alex is the one that actually will generate the power gens for me. So let's go ahead and use 1 key, because that's actually what ended up happening, is that we were using 1 key to deal damage. And the trial boss has 198 billion health when you start, and so this is not going to be quite the same, but I just wanted to kind of show you the mechanics here. So the idea is you're going to basically be waiting for your intensity to go up, and during this time, health is going to be a problem, as well as Power Gem Silence. Now with Power Gem Silence, it's not as big of a deal if you have a Reforged Contessa, because you can basically wait until you need to actually use it before you activate. Now you can sort of see that this is a little bit different, because I'm losing a lot more health than I was against the trial boss. But you can sort of see basically how this works. Now the next, I'm going to just kind of show you the next turn. What you do is you basically activate this first to cleanse all the power gems, and then activate everything else, and then do a power gem swap. For me, I think it took maybe three big hits. I was able to get 3 big hits, and after all that, I was able to take out the boss, barely in time, but I was still able to take it out. It just kind of requires some fidgeting of the timing. So this is one of the teams that can be successful against a against the trial boss before you get to the challenge. So if you're looking for some ideas, hopefully if you have a team like this, hopefully this helps out as well. All right, so looking at the chat. So right now, I think most people are asking for help here, and I'll basically go through that. So we've got. Let's see, anyone? So there's a question, how does Valda work? And Valda is a pretty easy card to use, I think. but I don't use her as much. And I'm going to show you, probably not using that boss. I'll show you using a emerald. So basically, you can see here, I'll show you how this works. And Sandra Alvarez, do we need Ray to be ascended for the deck you advise? So if the card is not ascended, then you lose the ability to create 4 power gems every 4 turns. And so unfortunately, I think for the purposes of getting if you're looking for the power gem spawn, then yes, but if you're not going to use her power gem spawn ability, then it's actually not that, it's okay. It's not a requirement. So the way you want to use Valda, it's just, you activate her one time and make sure that you do a gem swap. Then what's going to happen is the very next turn, she's going to actually create gems. And so you can see after the relics come on, then she activates, and then this is also when you can use the onslaught ability or take advantage of the onslaught ability, so that your other cards, such as your event, your main deck, your main card, or your master collection card, they're going to create power gems instead of regular gems. And so that's how that works. It's basically you activate, but nothing will happen until the next turn. But again, if you don't match gems, nothing will happen. So you have to do the following: you have to activate the card, and then you have to do a match, and then you have to make sure that that you win to the next turn before you can use it. And so John Tran, you pulled Olivia Oracle card and not sure how to effectively use her. So the way you want to use her is activate your support card first, like I just showed you with Valda, and then you're going to see the little when you see the little chevron is when you activate Olivia, so then her battle skill will create power gems instead of regular gems. All right, and seeing the chat here, Adrian Slim, welcome to the stream. Okay, so that's basically sort of the idea there, and let's just kind of get things out of the way. I'm going to do a Spire fight here, and as I'm doing the Spires, I'm going to explain sort of some of the strategies and some of the ideas here that you can employ, and also kind of how I go about building it. So if you don't have the cards, it is obviously going to be a little bit difficult, but even if you don't, you can still make it work. It's just that I'm going to be getting I'm going to get a wisp. I'm gonna have to dust it. All right, so we're gonna have to go with dark, and it's going to be elf or tech, corrupt or fable. And I think I can probably make this relatively easy. So let's go with dark here. And so corrupt is easy because we already had a bunch of cards from the event. So if I were to do something like this, then we can easily pass that. And so I'm probably not going to waste everybody's time doing that. I'm going to take a look and see if you have a floor that you're having a really hard time with, put it in the comment below, and then I will I'll kind of talk about it. And I know that one of the teams that a lot of people have hard time with is the water one. I think the one that requires, is it floor 3? Yeah. So if you don't have a water creature or water demigod. Actually, if you have a water demigod, this should be fine now. So before the first water commander event, a lot of people are having a hard time with it. So if you have any of these cards, honestly, if you have any generation 3 cards, so water demigod, if you have any of these 3 cards, even just one in there, you're not going to have a hard time defeating it because the 10 times bonus actually applies there. And same thing with Reforge. Like if you have any Reforged heroes that can apply there, so I think, for example, water creature. So if you have if you needed a water creature card, so take a butcher and reforge it, and you should be able to to pass it pretty easily. All right, so let's take a look at some of the people's cards now. Then let's jump in here and let's see what we got. And again, I'm going to try and focus on cards that actually, before I go in, like if any of you are actually in the chat right now, let me know. So Dark Arcane, Eric Blackheart, and Jay Scott, you guys are actually first on the list. If you are, let me know and I'll jump in. Otherwise, I'm going to actually go into Vicar IR Senior because his name is on the chat, and I saw him message earlier. And Lisa Minra, you're stuck on 4. Is it Tower 1, floor 4? Carmel. And so John, how to get a reforged shard? We will show you that as well. Did I? Is it because there's an extra space in there? IMR. Oh, you know what? I have the names mixed up. I apologize. IMR. Yeah, so John Tran, if you wanted to get the reforged shards, all you have to do is go to a card that can't be reforged, and then if you go down, take a look at the things that you need to get reforged. Click on it; it'll take you to either the daily, it'll take you to the dungeon, like the gear dungeon, or it'll take you to the daily dungeon. All right, the Reaper, remind me which one, what's your in-game name as well, please, and I'll go into yours right afterwards. All right, so let's take a look and see, I'm going to take a look and we're going to try and see if we can build you a quick 2-turn or a 3-turn deck. But if you already are using a pretty good deck that I think is good, then, we probably don't need it. Like Slayer, it's less important. And I think that Commander is really the one that would really help here. So I'm seeing here that you've got a couple of the Fire Dren cards, which I don't have, and then you have Olivia as well as Valda there, so I think that should be fine. Yeah, I guess the challenge with not being able to get through everybody in a stream is that you may not need it the very next turn. So we will. I'll just try and go through as quick as I can. So Vicar, IMR Senior, not sure if you're here or not, but I also see that you're using Galena. If you have a gem destroyer, that's actually going to help out a ton. But I think what you can do with this one is because you have the tiger there that will create a lot of gems, you will end up getting the gem fault anyway. So I think that's a good mix. So Galena is a really good card to use in this case, because you could use her to your benefit. I could show that a little bit. And so I think I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the Reaper then. The Reaper. And also let me know what kind of help you need. Slayers is one of those things where you can also just tag if you wanted to, unless you're looking to MVP bosses or if you're trying to take down guild bosses. The event cards are 3 hit, and that's the problem. Yes, it is. So you kind of need to take 1 turn to get the power gem, to get the battle skill going. Then you activate it, and then wait 1 turn before you do something. And by that point, everything is dead. So that's why I stress on the importance of a 2-turn deck for that particular reason. All right, so let's see here. Let's see what you're working with. So you got Ventrix and you got Ross, so that's obviously a really good choice. That right there already should get you 2-turn damage. Plus you have Olivia and also the Bacon Baron. And so I can't, and you're getting additional power boost from the Bacon Baron. So that's a really good deck right there. I think you can 1-key pretty easily most decks at this point, even just by looking at it. And looking at your relics, do you have an Ancient card? So this activates as long as there's an Ancient on in the deck, but you don't actually have an Ancient on your team. You've got God, and you got Giant, and then you have Technological, and then you got Fable. And so I think this relic right here isn't going to isn't what you're looking for. I think you need to use the other Fire Commander relic rather than this one. And if so, you already have that here. So this is the only one you need. The other one isn't going to help you in this case. And so what I would recommend is put in a God relic if you have it. Let's take a look and see if you have the God relic. So you don't have the God relic for fire. Then let's see, Technological or Fable would work as well. So let's take a look at your gear. So no tech, and I think Fable. And no Fable. Oh, there's Fable, but you probably don't have the fire one. And so in this case, I would use. Do you have any legends? So let's take a look at fire. So these are the things that I look for, right? Like look for things that can boost fire. So even if you just used a 4-star race staff, that should be okay. And so challenge boss, I can't defeat a challenge boss either. So if you take a look at the bosses, right, they are super beefy. They have a 5 trillion health, right? And I think the goal or almost 6 trillion. And here's my recommendation to everybody here. It's not for everyone. This boss isn't meant for everyone to be able to get through. And if you look at the rewards, it's really nothing. If you take a look at the rewards at this level, MVP gives you 226 million trophies. That's half of the MVP rewards for an Eternal Radiant, and it's almost as much in terms of the health. And so then it's also, you can also get that from a Infernal Radiant. So this is half of that. And so if you can't beat it, I wouldn't stress it. I'm not really stressed. Basically, I'm just, I look for teams, if it looks like somebody's going to take it out soon, then I'll go ahead and, chip in with 1 key as well. You do want to try and save keys because you can only replenish every five hours. But I wouldn't stress about the challenge bosses. It really isn't for you unless you have the previous ultimate form or this particular event's ultimate form. And even if you don't have the fire gen one, it only takes beast killer skill. So it really is meant for people who have this event deck, and the rewards aren't quite as good. It's not quite as key efficient, and so that's something that I wouldn't be too concerned about. So now that we've sort of taken a look at everyone else that's in the chat here, I'm gonna take a look at let's take a look at Chaplain Alice Onxie. Oh, I just see Joel wants to know. So I think I think I took a look, but your pinch of green team. We'll go back and revisit it. Like when I took a look, it didn't look like your team was that bad. So let's see. So Chaplain Alice Onxie, you're saying you need a quicker go-to team. So let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Chaplain Alice. Yeah. So this is one of those events. Actually, this time around, I had to sit back and look at my cards and say, what do I do? Because my cards just aren't very good, and so I had to really figure out a better, faster team there. And so let's see if you have one that 15% team. So I see that's a good probably a 2-turn deck. And Spire team, Bounty, Guild Wars, new team. Okay. And so let's take a look and see what we're working with here. So using Rey as leader is obviously a really good choice there, because you can boost both Slayers and also commander cards. And I don't have Marionetta, and so I keep having to look at her card to remember how it works. So it'll create 4 power gem force right away. Okay, so that's a really nice one to have right there. And then so Sergeant Sausage, I think there's a requirement, right? 8 power gems, but it costs 50 skill points. So you need to make sure you have a couple of support cards in the deck. And right now you just have the 1, and you have 2. You only have 2 Fire Slayer relics. Another one just came out today, so I'm not sure if you're going to invest in it, but I would recommend putting that one in there. So then you have 3, so that would give you 1 support card plus 3 relics. That is going to give you your 50. That's going to give you your 50 skill points on turn 3. But if you need a turn 2, then you're going to have to take out Sergeant Sausage out. So that's kind of the mix, sort of the choice you have to make. And of course, the problem is you also need to use her only in 3 turns. So that's really the challenge. So let's take a look and see what we can do and what other options you might have for a turn 2 deck. And so let's see. So definitely keep Marionetta. And you have, I would, if you wanted a faster team, honestly, Bacon Baron is going to be a better choice for you. I can't remember the Warpick Warship. So what does it do here? So it will it'll create Power Gem 2s. So the Warpick Warship might also be a good option as well instead of the Bacon Baron, because you get a better Power Gem spawn ability. And let's see here. So we've got this card here, 4 Power Gem 1s. Like, you want basically cards that can create Power Gems and not nuke. If you get a card that nukes, then you're basically going to give up your turn to the next player, to the next person. And so this card is an option. So basically, Bacon Baron, the Warpick, the Pig Warship, and also this card right here. They're all options that you can use. And in terms of the gem spawner, I think Admiral Appwood is a good one. And also looking to see if you have any other fire cards here. So you've got Cobra, you got Alex, and you have Ra, right? So you've got Ra here, and you have a card that will also create 4 Power Gem 4s, and you got Ra on the board. I would actually recommend that consider taking out the sauce. Consider taking a Sergeant Sausage for Ra here. So then what you can do is you can activate Marinetta, Ra, and you can put Olivia in there and sort of see how that goes if you're looking for 2-turn damage. Like the thing is, you want to try and find if there's a way for you to get the attack going on turn 2 rather than turn 3. And so Jill wants to know, Spiral 1-4. All right, so let's take a look at your card since your name was on the list and I kind of went in and skipped you right away. So let's go back and take a look there. So Vicar, Aymar, here. So 1-4 is Tech, and also let's just take a look. I forget already. So 1-4, right? So you need to take a look at Spire 1-4. Let's take a look. And you know, besides this, how are you guys doing in your events? How do you feel about the quests this time? They've actually loaded up on the quest a lot more this time around, and I'm actually making better progress than I have in the previous events, and I haven't played nearly as hard as I did. And so I think about halfway, almost halfway there, 4,000 ish. How about you guys? Where are you guys at? All right, Shalian, you're exhausted, yeah, and you know, I miss you guys too. So you guys have to, you know, you're gonna have to rejoin us right after this event. All right, we miss you as well. All right, so we've got 1-4 is dark. I see. So it's dark, demigod, ancient, human, and god. All right. So let's see. So card, I'm here. So let's take a look at your dark cards. Yeah, so Sandra Alvarez seems easier. That's how I feel as well. So, you know, keeping my fingers crossed that it stays that way. So we're going to start with Ancient, and we got 6 heroes here. And so they're all Generation 1 cards. And so that's going to, I can see how that could be a little bit difficult. And then we've got Demigod and Dark God. I mean, I usually would just use Dark God here, and you've got 10 of those. I think you have the perfect deck right here. So have you tried this? Jill wants to know. So honestly, you have all the cards here. I mean, you also have Generation 3 cards. So just simply putting these 3 cards in there. So put a Dark Gem. So like, you know, you don't even need to do anything. All you need to do is put these 3 cards in. Okay. And these are Generation 3 cards, and put a Soul Reaper and a Xeno Scourge in there. Activate all of your battle skills on turn 2, and you're going to be able to take them all out. Okay, so Spire 1-4, this is the deck right here. Just, you know, you might have forgotten that you have gone Dark God cards since we played, but this is what I would just make sure these are not my cards. Yeah. So definitely go with this because Dark God is an option for 1/4, and you have the perfect cards to advance here. So that's what I will go with. All right. So Judge of All, 3,700 quest coins. Yeah, I mean, like we need about 9,000 something. So let's take a look and see where I'm at. Sometimes I wish that they would make it a little bit easier for me to just get to where I need to instead of having to click so many times. All right, so let's go in here and let's see quests. And let's take a look at the rewards. Oh, and did you notice that there is a claim all now? So, okay, I thought I was at 4,000 or something. So I'm at 3,650, but I could claim some. I don't know what I got, but I'm going to go and claim some. So let's go ahead and claim all. So 160 points for something. I can't remember what. But yeah, so it's it's a lot easier now, and so I think I still need to get the rallies. I haven't been very good at the rallies. The challenge bosses, I think I'll be able to get that in. Also, I think the 160 was for the challenge, so I'm gonna get my keys there. So I'm gonna go for that. And so just 10, so just 5 more should be good. It's the ultimate bosses that's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna have to go after the Radiant and also the boss Supremacy. So overall, I think it's a little bit less of a grind for me, but I will see when the event gets closer. Okay, so the next person I wanted to take is we'll take a look at Garsenga Steel. And you can also evolve cards if need. And so Zuzu Mac Duck, I think. So next time, I think what would really help me out is let me know also a little bit of a context of what you need help with. In Slayers, I think in Commanders it's pretty straightforward, but in Slayers it's a little bit harder to know what you really need. I actually showed a video one time last Slayer event. I had a team of just wisps, and I was able to do really well just by tagging all the bosses. I mean, I'm not recommending that you do that, but like honestly, it depends on what you want to do. I think it's important that we talk about how it can help. And so we got dungeons and GVG attack, legends, and Spire event. I'm assuming that I'm gonna look for some event decks here. Yeah, my phone is really slow right now. You can see how slow it's loading the cards. So red event 3. So you got 2 support cards, and you've got 3 of the you got 3 of the Slayer. Yeah, and I'm not sure if this was put in because I showed it in my video yesterday, but this only works if you have Ancients on the team. So I would take this out because you don't have an Ancient on your team right now. You've got Dren, and you have Special, Technological, and Fable. And so if you wanted to, you already have a Special Relic in there. I would put in a, Technological or Fable or something else, but this relic right here, I would take it out because you're not getting any help from it. And so you're also using the Baleful Bride, which is nice. So basically you are going to get all of your power gem spawns on turn 3 after getting 50 skill points to get the 8 power gem 8 power gem force. That's a really good number actually. And so what you want to do then, I think for this deck, you want to activate your 2 support cards on turn 2, and then it's going to create a bunch of red gems, and then activate your power gems. Personally, I would have preferred if there was a different power sort of gem spawner, if you will. And so let's just take a look and see what you've got going on here as well. And so you got Emerald Applewood. I actually feel that, for this purpose, for turn 2, turn 3, you might deal a little bit. I wonder if you'll deal more damage if you had Emerald Applewood, just because I think timing wise, you may not be able to match the timing of your power gems from the Baleful Bride and the rest of the cards on turn 3, because Baleful Bride won't actually spawn any gems on turn 3. It'll only spawn gems on turn 4, and so you're going to have to adjust it a little bit. So if you want to take her out, then I would put in honestly, I would put in this card. I would put in Tundir, because what you can do is you can, on turn 2, you're going to get hit as well. So if you activate your support card and you activate Tundir, you're going to get a full board of gems. So I would replace the Baleful Bride with Tundir here. So then you've got basically 3 support cards. You got your, Sergeant Sausage, and then you have the Marionetta. So you're going to get a total of 12 Power Gem 4s plus all of your power gems from your relics and a full board of red gems. So that would be the one change I would make, and that's a turn 3 deck for you. All right, so Zuzumac Duck, that's what I would recommend. And let's see, so Casey, Freeman, Catherine, and sorry I didn't say hi to everybody here. Just want to say thanks for joining the stream. And now that I'm a little bit behind on the chats here, let's take a look and see what I'm missing here. So Sandra, you're stuck on Granite Spire 2. All right, so Tower 2, level 2. Okay, let's take a look there as well. And Judge of All, Beauty and the Bacon, we could do that. So Zuzumac Duck, you need a quicker deck. I think that based on what I mentioned there, then you'll need to swap out your 2 Valdas with your apple sort of, Emerald Applewood, because they will create gems right away as opposed to waiting a turn. And so I'm going to switch back and forth. Let's take a look at the Spire, and then we're going to go back and take a look at, I'm just going to jump into Judge of All. We're going to take a look at your cards, and then I'm going to go back up and see who else I've missed. And sorry, I'm a little disorganized this time around, but, just trying something a little bit different here. So Heavenly Spire, Spire 2, level 2. So this one requires fire. Okay, so fire creature, fire spirit, and fire corrupt. And let's see, Sandra Alvarez. I wish I remembered your in-game name, but because that would actually make it a little easier. I think you put your name in there. So let me take a quick look, Sandra Alvarez. If I could see your in-game name, I can go in and give you suggestions there. Sandruxi. Okay. So, Sandruxi. Let's take a look at your card for your Spire. So we're looking at Fire Spirit. Okay, so you got Fire Spirit, Fire Corrupt. Okay, and I wish I remember. Oh, and if I remember, I can't remember what the ages is on this one either. But you have a couple of good gen spawners there. And you have the Dragon Dancer. Let's take a look. I can't remember what was the last one. Fire creature. Okay. So let's take a look at your fire creature cards. Okay. So I think, yeah, the challenge is most of these cards, these are all Generation 2 cards, and they're a little bit older, but let's see. So it looked like maybe your Corrupt is not bad. And so you have Cthulhu, and he's going to create 5 gems at 4-star, and it's also super hard to evolve, so I can totally understand that. So this is Vena. Let's see, and you've got Manville. So Manvilles, I think, will actually destroy gems, and okay, so this will. So you have a gem destroyer here, so you probably want to use Manvilles. So you got Manvilles, and then you can also create gems with Daydreamer Cthulhu. And so these are going to be sort of the 3 cards you might want to consider using. And then Dragon Dancer will create Power Gem 3s, I think, Power Gem 3s at 5-star. So you'll want to use these 4, and this way you can also get, you can get your Corrupt boost, and you also have Javis, which will create gems and destroy gems based on corrupt intensity. Honestly, like I'm not sure if you've already tried it, but it looks like your corrupt deck is going to be your best bet. If not, one of the things that you could also do is put in another card that you have a lot of relics for, like a fire relic or something, so that you can just kind of keep building it. And so that's always a trick as well. So like if you don't have a corrupt relic, then you'll probably want to put in like, so we have fire spirit, corrupt, and creature. None of those are generation 3 yet. So we got creature, corrupt. You don't have, oh yeah, there's corrupt. So there you have 2 corrupt relics there. So actually I would just go with that. I would just go with the 5 corrupt relics, go with an all corrupt team, and just build up your power gems passively so that every turn try to build as many gems as you can, so let the power gems go up, and then when it's higher enough, then you have a gem destroyer that you can use to destroy gems, create additional gems, and then do a swap. You might need to do 2 or 3 hits like that, but you're going to get a heal from your Manvos, so you should be fine there. All right. And so judge of all, let's take a look at your cards next. So I think what you said is Beauty and the Bacon. That's the team that you wanted to take a look at. So let's see. So Beauty and the Bacon. So Admiral, Applewood, Marionetta, and so again, when I see Sergeant Sausage, it really is telling me that this is more or less a 3-turn deck, because if you don't plan to use him on turn 2, then you might as well not use him at all. So that's kind of where I'm at with this particular event. With this event deck, you have to make a choice. Is it a 3-turn deck or a 2-turn deck? If you want it to be a 3-turn deck, this is great. I think that it's just that you don't have the card to convert Olivia in to use the power gem, but you're gonna get it from your Sergeant Sausage, Marionetta, and also Bacon Baron. So this is a really good 3-turn deck. For 2 turns, I think the only thing I would want to do is try and look for an alternative for your for your gem spawner there. So let's take a look here. What I'm looking for are there any other Power Gen 4 spawners? And of course, if you had, you would have put them in. I know that. I mean, you have Ra. Wouldn't be a bad choice, even if it only creates 6 or 5 power gems. That's still something that you can use there. And another option is, did I see? Oh, I thought I saw you have Infernal Squall, and so I think maybe you have to double Vena. What does she do again? I forget. Okay, so this one is a gem spawn based on the number of gems on the board. And so I think based on what I'm seeing here, you might, if you're looking for a turn 2 deck, you might have a better output with Golgotha. Just because you can create additional power gems there, and alternatively, you could put in another Admiral Applewood, and what you can do is use Admiral Applewood on turn 2 after you activate Marionetta. So then it would be Applewood, and then Bacon Baron, and then do a gem swap there. I mean, you only have 4 Power Gen 4s at that point, plus a couple of the relics there, but I'm not sure if how much damage that will do. But again, this is about building a turn 2 deck. Turn 3, I don't have a problem with this deck at all. I think it's going to be pretty good. It's just that the only thing that's unfortunate is that there's not that many great choices. The other one being Raw in there, you can get at least 6 Power Gen 5 Power Gen 1s in there to help you out there. So those are a couple of the choices I would go with in this case to get a little bit quicker output. And so let's see, you like to more power, don't care about speed. Then I would say if you want more power, you want to put in a cane. So instead of putting a raised staff at 4-star, one of the things that you should consider then is also putting in a scepter. So in terms of gear, you want to have a fire scepter if you have one. If you don't have one, I would recommend trying to get one, because what you want to do is you want to increase the total amount of recovery for the Bacon Baron, and then you could use it to boost the damage. If you had another Bacon Baron, you can also do that. Let's take a look. So I think you have one, and actually there's a trick here as well I wanted to show, but I don't think it's going to be worth it, because I think for you, if you don't care about the speed, you're looking for power, then I think what you've got is okay. You know what's interesting? If you're thinking like, you don't care about the number of turns, you need a little bit more power, you might end up dealing a little bit more damage if you used 2 Applewood and Bacon Baron and you replaced Olivia. Like, to be honest, you're going to lose on the 13 times damage, but you're going to gain a lot more with your boost in attack for all of the Fire Slayers there. And so that is something to consider if that's what you're looking for. Besides that, I think just, if you had Alex or Soul Thresher, that's the other thing that I would go with. Let's see. I think I thought I saw Soul Thresher. There's 3 Soul Threshers, right? So there's no Alex, but there's Soul Thresher. And I mean, the other thing is just use your Soul Thresher in there, and you can fill the board with gems. You're definitely going to get a lot more power output there, but that's going to take a lot more turns. And so if you wanted something that will give you long-term damage output, replace Olivia with Soul Thresher, and you should do pretty well there in terms of damage. That would be my recommendation, actually. Okay. All right. So Zuzu MacDuck. Okay, give it a try and let me see how that goes. And let's see. Adam Ortega. I'm taking a look here. Kiko. Leighton missed a lot. Actually, he didn't miss a whole lot. I've been kind of distracted a lot, so I haven't been as helpful as I have been, so apologize to everybody there. Brian Figueroa, I'm going to take a look at some of the others as well. And then Duppy Conqueror, I know that you are also one on the list as well, so I'm going to have to go back up to make sure that I don't miss a lot, and I'm going to actually type it up as well. So give me 1 second. So, Duppy Conqueror. I'm going to kind of go through right now and take a look at some of the names there as well. Huntress, Elisa Mineral, right? Minra. And Duppy, actually, Huntress was before you. So I'm going to make sure that I go in the right order and not miss too many people here. And so looking at Cool Beans, Nano, can I help you? And yes, I'll take a look at Nano, XNA _ and OX. All right, let's go with those 3 for now. I am so late. I'm so sorry, guys, about not being able to help you guys as much as I wanted to. I was really kind of hoping to try and like do something a little bit different, like focus on some of the other decks there, given that we don't have the event deck. What do we do? And so far that's what I'm seeing, like, we don't really all have the event deck there, because it's a crystal event. If you are not lucky with the pack pulls, then you're not getting the cards. That's really the reality. So what can we do? And this is really where like collecting some of the older cards can really come in handy and be really helpful. And one thing I'm really jealous is I don't have Marionetta. I don't have any of the cards from the Fire Dren deck. That's one I wish I had. All right, so event deck here. So you've got Olivia, and you've got Tundir, as well as Marionetta, and also Soul Thresher and support card there. But as always, one of the things that you want to think about is the fact that, look, it's not a great 2-turn deck because you have to wait. So like even Tundir, for example, it's also a 3-turn deck. Like you have to activate on turn on activate on turn 2, get hit on turn 2, and then on turn 3, then you have everything else. So that is also a 3-turn deck right there. Whereas Admiral Applewood is a lot better, creates 6 gems on turn 2 if you need it to. And you've got a nice card here, Samar, so you can use that as a gem destroyer there. And you've got Ra, so you definitely want to you want to use Ra. Like you definitely want to do that, especially since you have Marionette. Let's see what else you've got here. So you've got Night Sun. So that's like that was sort of like the fun deck that I kind of showed there. But I would say for this particular case, I would take out the Soul Thresher and I would put in Ra. And instead of Tundir here, I would actually consider putting in the sort of Admiral Applewood. Or is there another card that is a better spawner here? Let me take a look here just to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, I would actually put in the Admiral Applewood just because you can get, more power gems, and then you can use the regular gems afterwards to fill out the board. That's going to give you a bit better damage than this team right here on turn 2. So that's what I would do. Give that a try and see how that goes, and just making sure that you got the right relics there. So yeah, so definitely give that a try. Like, the thing here is like, keep in mind like when the cards can be activated, and if you can't activate a card and use it in the same turn, then you're going to lose out the opportunity to take that boss out that very same turn. The more turns you take, the more risk there is that particular boss is going to be taken up by someone else right afterwards. So keep that in mind. NOX Nano. Let's see what you got and what you're working with. So I see you've got the event deck there. So that if you wanted to use that, obviously that is going to be a 3-turn deck there. Let's see. Okay. So you got 3 support cards, and you have Infernal Squall in here. Interesting. I think that actually looks pretty good, but I want to see if there's going to be a better choice for you than that card right there. And let me see if you mentioned what kind of help you needed as well. Not sure if you mentioned if you needed something that is specific, but let's see. For you, you got Magma Ventrix. Something cool is if you put in Magma Ventrix and then you use the Sergeant's Sergeant Sausage and also Wesson, you're going to have a lot of power gen 4s. So that actually might not be a bad idea, because if you're going to be using a commander anyway, might as well use Magma Ventrix, because you're going to create 4 power gen 4s, and it's going to be a lot more powerful than Infernal Squall in that case. And so I would definitely consider giving that a try. And you can use the use Applewood last, so that you can get the fire gems at the very end to sort of fill in the gaps. You're going to find that you're going to have all these power gems somewhere, sort of in different places, and then you can activate that card to sort of fill in the spots. So that's what I would do based on the cards I'm seeing here. Thoth is another option, right? So Thoth will give you 10 power gem 2s. Yeah, so it's 5 power gems. So you got a lot of options. You can either use Magma Ventrix or you can use Thoth. I might. This was a toss-up for me. I think you're gonna have to play around a little bit and see, but both of those options are gonna be better for you than Infernal Squall. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, and let's take a look to see if there's anyone else that I might have missed there. I think I probably got about everyone there. I think I saw everyone. Yes. And Kiko, thanks again for helping from last event. No problem. I'm glad that you were able to get help. And gem silence is the problem. Judge of all. Yes, power gem silence is a nasty little thing, and so using gemfall, like using I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna try playing a deck right now, actually. So don't mind me. So if you ever get hit by power gem silence or something, all you have to do is not worry about it if you're using this team. Come on. So let's see. We'll try with this one and hope I don't die right away. I mean, I hope I don't kill the boss right away. And again, like one of the things I wanted to focus on this time around is just, fun ways to play the deck and re-exploring the cards I have and just kind of coming up with some new ideas for everyone as well. And so this one, you really don't have to worry about being hit by power gem silence. And I'll kind of show you why. Because it's the same idea like when you go up against a GVG boss and they start with gem silence and you use a gem fall deck and you kind of don't worry about it. It's because it's not impacted by the gems there. And so I'm gonna go ahead and let me get hit by it. And so what I can do here is I can simply say, all right, well, I'm gonna get my power gems. I'm not going to get my power gems because Infernal Squall creates gems. So I needed to use Night Sun in that case. So take back everything I just said, but just replace that with Night Sun. So that was embarrassing. Okay, so let's take a look here because Infernal Squall does actually create gems as she has a gem fall, and so that is going to be something that you have to take into consideration. But you want a card that doesn't do anything, like it doesn't actually create power gems, so it will actually actually be used. You can actually use the skill. And so Fire Commander, so the reason why I use that again is because of Night Sun. If you don't have Night Sun, if you don't have Ancient, then I wouldn't use that. Okay. Catherine McIntyre, you try with my previous video but don't have many UR. Yeah, so like it's I think the idea I was trying to go for is to see if I can just help in terms of like idea generation, and if there's anything that sort of helped out, I might actually end up killing this boss. If good ideas come out of it, then I'm glad. So let's see how this works now. So what's going to happen is what I should have done is I should have simply activated my power gems on that turn, and then now I can activate this. But because I don't have the power gems from before, I'm just relying on my relics here, which is still okay. And so this is going to deal okay damage right here. So let's see how much damage we can do without a lot of power gems there. We still did some swap there, and we have 29 times bonus. And I mean that this is one key, and we're able to do about like 2-3 billion. And so it's that's what I mean. Like you can still do okay on turn 2. It's just not going to be a ton of damage. So Mount Failmore, having sustained issues with the wipe me for my kitty deck, heal and gen spawning, which I recommend swapping Baleful Bride for Reforged Contessa or build a different deck. Okay, let's take a look. Dark Summoner Oriona. Dark Summoner is one word. With 2 N's. Hey, Joe want to know, past 1-4. Congratulations. So yeah, I think like it's just a matter of like, we had so many events since it came out. It's easy to forget like what you actually needed, and it's easy to miss that the one card or one event that actually had the cards you needed. And so when you say you're having sustained issues, health is the problem, I guess you're saying. But the problem is you need to be able to dispel power gem silence. And so if you're talking about health related issues, so if you're unable to survive longer, then I think then I think you probably will. You'll probably end up sacrificing one of your cards, and you might as well sacrifice this card. Honestly, like that's what I would do. I would honestly just get rid of Valda and put in either a Baleful Bride or another healer in this case. I wouldn't take out Reforged Contessa because you need to counter Power Gem Silence. And honestly, like the support card in this case is not going to be that much worse off than putting in another card. So I would do that. Okay, it's just I think in this particular case the team works well, and she kind of isn't really. She's kind of like that fifth wheel, in my opinion. Okay, and so put in Baleful Bright there instead would actually I think be better for you, and then you can use Sergeant Sausage or Marionetta as the leader. You're gonna get the Slayer boost there. So that's what I would do. So Lisa Minra tried a deck and was much better. Glad to hear that. And challenge boss. So you had to leave him for the new challenge or whatever it is. Yeah, so we can do that. And I think okay. So let's talk about the challenge here, right? So I've already showed you how that particular deck works, and then challenge boss, you basically have 5 keys, and then if you have to send them out to an ally mission. So I already got my keys, and basically it's just like collecting keys, but it's a 5-hour timer. So then send them out, they can get some keys there, and it uses 10 stamina instead of gold. I guess they always use stamina. And then you could basically come back, you have 5 keys. The thing is, you kind of want to pick and choose which ones you go after. I mean, like if you see one that's been sitting there for a long time with, hardly any hits there, probably not going to get hit. So you can just kind of save your keys. And if you can't take out an ultimate boss, level 1, if you can't take out a level 1 ultimate boss, then you shouldn't try and use 3 keys against a challenge boss. That's my recommendation there, because it is so much tougher. It actually... Ultimate boss is a lot easier because it doesn't have the debuff, and it has lower health. So if you can't take it out, then don't bother trying to use 3 keys, because it's so much harder to get the keys there. The thing here is you just need 10 bosses to be defeated by other people, and so just go for the ride for that one, and don't worry too much about it. Okay, so that's my recommendation, Queen Femme Fatale. And so Lord Ninian Sapphire. Okay, Lord Ninian, maybe that's the way to pronounce it. Sapphire. So Kitty AABBSS and the free card. Okay, so let's see what team is being used. Okay, so we've got 4-star there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what we can do to build a good deck there. Okay, so the nice thing about when you have Ray as a 6-star is that at this point, if you have a really good commander card, you can also use it because you're going to get the benefit of the health boost as well. And so Sergeant Sausage is definitely a good card to use there. And then you've got Ra, you've got Alex, okay, and Soul Thresher. So it depends. So there's a really good deck here for basically a Slayer deck, a Fire Slayer deck, that if you need it for a few more turns, and I would say put in Alex and Soul Thresher and the Baleful Bride and Alex, or not Alex, like, and any other Sergeant Sausage is going to be an amazing card in there. Like that is going to be a really good deck for the sort of the longer, bigger bosses, like the Radiant or the Guild Kobold bosses, where if you're not fighting for time, if you just need more power, The deck I would use would be the Fire Halloween deck, plus Sergeant Sausage in there for the 8 power gems. So then it'd be that Soul Thresher, Alex, Baleful Bride. We're missing one more card, and I would just put in another Generation 3 hero. So in this case, I would put in, I think putting in the Kitty is okay. Putting in Tandir, it's not a bad choice because you can get more damage output that way. So that's what I would recommend for a longer term fight. For a short term fight, for 2 turns, for example, or 2 to 3 turns, then I would say going with Sergeant and also I think I saw Ra. So definitely put in Ra, and I don't see any other cards that can generate Power Gen 4s. So this will be a turn 3 deck then. Sergeant Sausage and basically Ra, and then if you need to make sure you put in at least 1 support card, so then putting in Admiral, Applewood, maybe two of them, 2 Applewood, Sergeant Sausage, Raw, and 1 more card. If I could just get 1 more card, that Bacon Baron, right? So that would be a really good choice. Bacon Baron, Admiral, Applewood, Sausage, Sergeant Sausage, and Raw. That's going to be a really good 3-turn deck. That should be able to take out most decks as well. So that's what I would go after. Okay, so Debbie Moss, let your friend know, give that a try and see how that works out. And I think Adrian Slim, what is let me take a look. Is your in-game name the same? If so, then we can take a look. And so we are also at an hour and 7 minutes at this point, so I'm probably going to end the stream in just a couple minutes. So this is probably going to be my last one. All right, so Slim S C Y Peck. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be my last one that I'm going to go for today. And let's see. So is there a particular team that you wanted me to look at, a team name, or just a general ideas? It's a new team, and well, you've got the Fire Drem team there, and so you got Thoth, and you got Marinette. Okay, and so this is actually a perfect 3-turn team right there, because I think the ultimate form also requires you to get hit, right? So apply mod, 3 fire heroes, and then 2 power gen 2. Okay, so basically it creates 2 power gen 4s first. Actually it's a turn 2 deck, right? So you just basically you just go from left to right. And so this is where is this card really needed? You're getting the 10 times Slayer bonus, which is good, but you're kind of missing on some of the gems that you need. Like you kind of needed more gems on the board. And so let's take a look and see if there's anything we can do to improve that even a little bit more. So you have Firefly Thoth, you have Alex, Soul Thresher, you have Raw. Honestly, I think that if you give this a try putting in Raw in there and see if that makes a difference. You might not, it may not, because what I'm doing here is I'm giving you more power gems on the board, right? So you got 4 plus 2, and then with Raw and Thought there, you're gonna get an additional 10 right there. So I think overall that's just gonna give you a little bit more power gems. Duppy, did I not go with for you? Okay, I will make sure that this is the last one then. I can't believe I didn't actually go through your cards. Apologies. Really, really sorry about that. All right, so let's take a look and see what we can do for you. So I think what you said is you need a little bit faster team, if I remember correctly. And so in this case, you got the Baleful Bride. I mean, one of the things that you can do too is, you don't have Ray though, do you? Yeah. Okay. So if you wanted something that's really quick, you could go with need to absorb this a little bit and think about what you're working with. Yeah, I think you've got the makings of actually a relatively good fire deck. It's just that a lot of your cards are not quite um, evolved just yet. But so let's take a look at your cards. So let's take a look at your team, and then let's make a recommendation there. And so I think what you're saying is it works, but it's kind of slow, and you kind of wanted a faster team. Well, if you wanted a faster team, you need to have some of the cards that can actually spawn power gems for you on turn 2. And right now, I think what I'm seeing is mostly a turn 3 deck, and you have 2 Tundir in there, and so you're gonna get more than enough gems there. And so then you might actually benefit from putting in your Magma Ventrix in there just for additional power gems as well, just because it will help. And if you do that, I wouldn't bother with the Baleful Bride necessarily, because I think, oh, actually, yeah, this is a little bit tougher. So I think get 2 Tundirs, and you got the, so take out the Baleful Bride and try putting Magma Ventrix. And so on turn 3, you're going to deal that much more damage, I think, with that. And give that a try. So I think overall, like, what you've built here isn't actually too bad. Like, I probably would have done pretty much the same given the cards that you have. But I would play around and try, you know, the problem is Power Gem Silence. I just realized that. Do you have anything that you can't do turn 3 because you don't have Power Gem Silence at the spell. So if you're going up against any bosses that actually have Power Gem Silence, your team is not going to work. And so you're either going to have to put in one of those cards, or you need a turn 2. Yeah, if you're going to use turn 2, then you can't use Tundir there. This is the challenge. Like, really sort of like, you know, what do you do? Do you know, like, you really need a turn 2. Then I would say Marionetta, Magma Ventrix, and then you need Fire Gem Spawner. So then Admiral Applewood. And what else can you use? What else can you use? Let me see here. If you have a Gem Destroyer, you don't. Yeah, then the Baleful Bride is like, it's gonna be a turn 1 and turn 3, so that's not gonna help. Huntress Legata is a commander card, and it doesn't actually create a bunch of things. Smoldering Source doesn't really work. Huh. Well, I think you've got Magma Ventrix, you've got a Marionetta, that's 8 power gems right there. And then if you put in Applewood, that's going to help there. The problem is you don't have Fire Gem spawners. You don't have any cards that can give you Fire Gems. And because of that, it's going to be really hard for you to build your you've got also Dragon Dancer that creates 2 Power Gem 3, so that's also another option that you can use there. And you don't have a Gem Destroyer. You have Night Sun. Even at 4 stars, it will work. So if you're really looking for a 2-turn deck that's going to work, put in the Night Sun. So then after activating all of your Power Gem spawners, activate Night Sun just to get them all grouped together, and then do a Power Gem swap. That's going to give you a bit more damage output than what you have here. Like, if it's not all connected, it's not going to be as good. So sorry that took way too long for me to figure out, but hopefully that helps out. And thanks everybody actually for sticking around with me for this long. The stream is a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but Hopefully this helps out. So Duppy, you might want to replay what I just mentioned so you can sort of understand what I'm talking about. So I'm Kiko. Yeah, go ahead and add me. I think I might be full, so I'm gonna have to add you back. So let me go ahead and unaccept one of the older ones, and we will see. I'm so 7 days ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of these older people. So go ahead and add me. I have 3 spaces available now. Okay, so thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and for spending all this time. Let me know, give me feedback on how you think this particular stream went, how I could have done better, and what could I do differently. And I'm always looking for ways to improve there. So again, hope you have a good event. Thank you, take care, and I'll try and come up with more content if I could as well. Okay, and again, we're gonna take a look at more spires in the next events as well. So we're going to continue to look at spires. So give me your questions. Let me know what floors you're stuck on, and we will try and help you out. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Take care. I'll see you next time.